الحبيب المصطفى الهادي الأمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين، آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. On the 20th of Safar, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, a great companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, who his vision was weakened, he went with his companion named Atiyah to visit the grave of Abu Abdullah salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. The narration states that with Jabir there were a few other Hashemites as well. But the focus here is mainly on the companion of Rasulullah, Jabir. He went to the river of Furat. He did the ghusl. He put some good scent on himself. He went to the grave of Abu Abdullah and told Atiyah to show me the exact place of the grave. He went on the grave and he threw himself and shouted 3 times, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein. And he passed out, and after he regained conscience, he did a salam, a special salam on Abu Abdullah, and then on the companion of Abu Abdullah salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. A lot of our ziyarah of Abu Abdullah will not neglect to mention the names and to mention the companions and the great companions of Sayyid al-Shuhada salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, who fought defending the message of Rasulullah and the message of Islam. And he said, Assalamu alaykum ayyatuha al-arwah allati hallat bifina'i al-Husayn wa anakhat birahlih. أشهد أنكم أقمتم الصلاة وآتيتم الزكاة وأمرتم بالمعروف ونهيتم عن المنكر وجاهدتم الملحدين وعبدتم الله حتى أتاكم اليقين والذي بعث محمدا بالحق نبيا لقد شاركناكم فيما دخلتم فيه. That after saying his salam and glorifying them for what they done, he said that we partnered you for what you have done. Atiyah, he asked Jabir, "Oh Jabir, but we didn't wield a sword, we didn't strike with a spear, we didn't descend a mountain, we didn't do what they have done. Their bodies been scattered, their children are orphaned, their wives are widowed. We didn't do any of that. How can we be with them? He said then, سمعت حبيبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول من أحب قوما حشر معهم ومن أحب عمل قوم أشرك في عملهم. Whoever loved people, loved a bunch of people, and loved what they have done, he will be partnered with them. In this, we have Imam Rida salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, a ma'soom, confirming what Jabir said as well, that he said to Ibn Shabib, Ya Rayyan ibn Shabib, إن سرك أن يكون لك من الثواب مثل ما لمن استشهد مع الحسين عليه السلام فقل متى ما ذكرته يا ليتني كنت معهم فأفوز فوزا عظيما. He said to Ibn Shabib, whenever you remembered Imam Hussein salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, say this, that I wish I was with them, so I will be truly successful. Ya laytana kunna ma'ahum. With this, I want to say something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, that وَذَكِّرْ إِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That remind people, that these reminders will benefit the mu'mins. There is this doctor, a German doctor, who passed away in the 1909, if I'm not mistaken. He did a study in regard of memory curve. And he said that when you learn something, when you are listening, you know this 100%. Just 20 minutes after, you will know from that information just a 60%. It will decrease by when the time passes until it gets to a month. Then you don't remember a thing of that. So what he did, he started studying in regard of how to improve our memory and how to rejuvenate what we have learned. You know, there's this saying use it or lose it, right? With this comes this, not just practice, like every time, after 20 minutes, go review what you have learned. You do the opposite. After 1 hour, you review. So until the months pass, you will be what? At least know the majority of that information. Maybe not the whole information, but the majority. With religion, these kind of practices is common. Like, for example, a lot of people, they know without anyone telling them their salat and their hamd and surah. At least they know Surah Al-Hamd and Surah At-Tawheed, the least that they can know. Does someone need to remind them of that? No, because they repeat it all the time. With Imam Hussein salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, says, remind yourself all the time. When you see a water, say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. You know, the rewards the majlis truly I need to dedicate one majlis to just mention the rewards a person can get from reminding himself of his religion and Abu Abdullah salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Tijaratan yassaraha lahum rabbuh. That's truly a business that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made simple for us and easy. Every time you see a water, remind yourself of Imam Hussein. Every time you mention Imam Hussein, remind yourself of the sacrifice of Imam Hussein salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi for the religion, and sacrifice of his companions and his Ahlul Bayt, his progeny, for the sake of Islam. And you will get rewarded for that. With this teaches us something else, something very important. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded us with this in different verses, one of which in Surah Al-Hamd. In one of the verses is, you recite, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Why do you mention this? Why do you repeat this? Every time, every day, 10 times a day. Why? You know, before Salat, it's recommended. Before you say Allahu Akbar, right? You remind yourself of what you are doing, right? That I am praying 2 units, right, of Salat. For this, what? To seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. In regards of Ahl Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in, in Surah Ad-Dahr, Surah Al-Insan, that إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. We don't want anything in return. We are doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. In every worship, in everything that you do, if you don't have that intention, if you don't have the intention that you are worshipping for something else, they say, some Arab tribes before Islam, the times of ignorance, they used to make a sculpture, an idol out of dates. When the dates was in season, what they left with, the extras, they don't have a fridge, they don't have a mean to store it. So what they did is to what? To build a statue and pray to that statue for. Maybe that's why this idiom, this saying in Farsi came from. Ham Khuda, Ham Khurma. God and dates. So whenever they feel hungry, they go to their God and eat it. So their intention is what? A dual intention. And a lot of what we do sometimes, right, we have that kind of intention. You know, maybe if there's no one here, my salat will be much lighter. But because if it's in front of people, Allahu Akbar. Right? When there's no one watching, I will look at the one that I should not gaze at. Right? When people looking at me, I will be generous. But in private, I will be stingy. I go back to my nature, true nature. So, what you've did, this, all you did is was for nothing. It was for nothing. It's all gone. Why? Because you didn't do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You didn't do it for the sake of Allah. You know, this law, I'm not saying it's a bad law, it's an excellent law actually. Revives a lot of places, right? But they made it for themselves. They don't have that kind of aqeedah, theology. in regard of like tax cuts, you know, someone pays to a charity, right? So as he in his mind doing, you know what, I will get a tax relief and have the thawab as well. Don't have that intention in your mind. Maybe give less so they take some tax from you, or give more so you what? At least you given more what you think that, you know, it will be the tax cuts. Have that kind of intention. Don't corrupt your intention with what you do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind us many times in Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يُهَاجِرْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يَجِدْ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرْغَمًا كَبِيرًا وَسَعَةً وَمَنْ يَخْرُجُ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ مُهَاجِرًا إِلَى اللَّهِ فَقَدْ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ يُدْرِكُ الْمَوْتِ فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. If someone did jihad, that's why emphasize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, was killed, right, in one of the battles, Muslimin against the Mushrikeen. They brought him and said this, you know, he's a shaheed. Apparently he wasn't. Why? Because his intention was a woman that he wanted. A woman by the name of Jamil. He said, you know, I want that woman, so I will fight until I reach her and grab her and take her for myself. That was his idea. When you don't have, you know, sometimes the term of shaheed nowadays been used loosely. Everyone is scared, oh, he's a shaheed. No. What was his intention? And ironically, I have seen this. Someone who is actually was, I can't say an atheist, but not religious, a non-religious person, right? He was defending Sweden for what they did in regard of Quran, and he said that those people gave a lot of shuhada to reach to this place. What place is that? What is a shaheed? By the way, you are not religious. Why you use the term shaheed? It's a religious term. It's a term they use for the person who fights in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, he's not shaheed. This has been going on. A lot of people use these terms for their own purposes. Going back, using your intention, no one will know. No one will know. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam one day prepared Ali ibn Abi Talib to go to one of the battles. So one person said to his brother, let's go with Ali ibn Abi Talib. Of course, it's going to be a winning war. You know, even like it's a war, you need everyone. You don't care about their background, their religion, right? You need to win the war. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam doesn't work like that. Doesn't fight like that. He needs someone who's true to his religion, to his belief. And to turn a blind side, let him go. You know, he will take something. And they go, no. Purify your intention. One day, after Amir al-Mu'mineen was prevailed in the battle of Jamal, a person said, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, I wish my brother was here. Amir al-Mu'mineen said to him, was your brother, his intention and his heart with us? He said, yes, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was. Said, then he is with us. Allahu Akbar. Then he is with us. That time separated us from Karbala. The geographical now place is separating us from the city of Karbala, the land of Karbala. If you have that intention in your heart, if you have that love of Abu Abdullah, of his companions, of his visitors. You know, one day a person came and saw Imam Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi in his sujood. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And he was praying for the visitors of Abu Abdullah. Allahumma arham tilka al-wujuh allati ghayyaratha ash-shams. Under the scorching sun, the skin will tan, will burn. Imam al-Sadiq salamullah alayhi says, may Allah have mercy. May Allah have mercy upon the people who are walking and visiting Sayyid al-Shuhada under the scorching sun. If you now, your heart breaks. See, you know, I didn't do anything. Like, this just was a couple of steps. The weather is beautiful. The place is comfortable and safe. So what am I getting? No, you will get it when your heart is in Karbala. And when you say, يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. صلى على محمد وعلى محمد. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says in regard of purifying your niyyah, your intention. He says, إن تصفية العمل أشد من العمل وتخليص النية من الفساد أشد على العاملين من طول الجهاد. That it's demanding and it's hard for someone to purify his intention. It's harder than what you think and what you do. That's why we have a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Niyyatul mu'mini khayrun min amalih wa niyyatul kafiri sharrun min amalih. That the niyyah of mu'min is better than what he does. They say in the hereafter, they bring the mu'min his book of deeds, of a'mal. He opens it, that he sponsored 1,000 orphans until they grow up and they were successful in their lives. He built 1,000 masjids. He did this and did that. What is this? I haven't done this. I haven't done this. He says, yes, but your intention was to do it. You had that intention in your heart. Some people, they truly, when they want to change the world, when they have a high intention, a high expectation, and they put a big goal, they will reach somewhere. Maybe not to their goal, but they will reach high enough. I mentioned this before, that someone asked, a scholar asked his son that, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, like you, Dad. He says, you're not going to be like me. I wanted to be like Imam Sadiq and I became like this. If you want to be like me, you're not going to be nothing. So the intention, they said, what is this? Does that make sense? That the intention of a mu'min is better than what he does. He says, listen up. And what's about the kafir? The kafir's intention is worse than what he does. He said that in the kullun ya'malu ala shakilatih. That means that his niyyah, his intention, everyone does on his niyyah. So they say the people of heaven deserved heaven because of their intention, and the people of hellfire deserved hellfire because of their intention. How? Because the people of heaven, if they would have lived forever in this world, they would have done and obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the people of fire, if they would have lived 1,000 but forever in this world, they would disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This, their intention, made them deserving of hellfire forever. Wal-'ayadhu billah. Of course, some people will get punished in hellfire, but not gonna stay there forever. But when they go to heaven, they will stay forever. When they finish their time, if they go to heaven, they will go and stay forever. Inshallah, they're not gonna be for us, and we're not gonna even look at the hellfire. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says, even seeking knowledge. Seeking knowledge. There's a lot of emphasis on seeking knowledge in Islam. Of course, a knowledge that's beneficial, not where Brad Pitt was born and how old is he and who he is married to. And information that's not going to be beneficial for you or anyone else, for this life or hereafter. You're not going to be asked about that. But for some reason, people know it. Anyway, an information or a science or a religion studies that will benefit you. If you do that to tell the people that I'm a scholar, to brag, I've studied this much. You've seen some people that when they stand before the others, I studied this many years and I've compiled this many books and I did such and such and such. Let me give you an example of a pure intention of someone that every one of us know. Whether you've been into seminary or not, whether you are too religious or not, everyone knows the book of Mafatih al-Jinan. Right? Everyone knows it. At least they heard about it. They opened it once maybe in their lifetime. A book that the author compiled and brought different hadith, du'as, and put in one book. He didn't just written, of course he compiled this, but he wrote many other books. This is one of his most famous ones. His father once was telling him that why don't you become like this scholar who compiled this many books? And he was the one who compiled and wrote all these books. And his own father didn't know about it. He did it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi radwanullahi ta'ala alayhi. One day, he was the imam of Jama' of Masjid in Qom. Masjid al-Jama' is what? The main mosque, which people go for what? For Salat Jum'ah, Salat al-Eid, right? And there's more thawab to pray in the Masjid al-Jama' because it gathers all the people, right? Unity is something important in Islam. Anyway, so he was praying there. All of a sudden, after a while, he disappeared. Where is the Shaykh? He's not anywhere to be found. So they brought someone else in his place. Someone found him in one small mosque. If you've been to Iraq, the old cities, right? The old Najaf city or Karbala, they're small mosques. Like it doesn't even fit like 10 people. Very small ones. So they saw him in one of those like small mosques. He's praying there. Someone says, Shaykhana, you left all of that to come here? For what purpose? He said that I saw my intention getting corrupted. Why? He said one day I was praying and heard someone far, his voice was weak and far, said, Inna Allaha ma'a sabirin. Meaning what? Wait until I reach the ruku' and to join you in salat. So you prolong your ruku' so I can join. So I thought to myself, oh, there's too many people praying behind me now. Allahu Akbar. This is corrupting my niyyah now. This is corrupting my niyyah. So if you learn religion even, to brag about it, or to say to the scholars, you know, I'm like you now. And you want to debate the scholars because you feel that, you know, you earned your position now. It's not going to benefit you. Not going to benefit you. Even arguing, right? You know, unfortunately, nowadays, especially because of the social media, people arguing all the time on Twitter, on I don't know if they do it on WhatsApp, probably they do in groups, right? They argue all the time over nothing. Like, for love of God, they're arguing which phone is better, iPhone or a Samsung. I mean, who cares? I saw once this clip of this sheikh that they, like, out of all these questions, they wanted to know his position in regard of, you know, an iPhone or a Samsung. Probably some others, they ask, you know, which team you're supporting. Arguing, we are all arguing now all the time. I mean, I'm talking about myself. All right, inshallah, everyone else not doing this. Like, every day I say I'm arguing about something. Like, can I have a day of peace? For what? May Allah have mercy on all mu'mineen and mu'minat. One of our relatives, rahmatullah alayhi, passed away a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago. He had that kind of policy. Like, we know all about him. If he doesn't agree with you on something, and you don't agree with him, you start arguing. You reach a point, he says, okay. You want to continue, he says, okay. I don't want to argue anymore. But you want to, but he doesn't. And he goes and goes up and leaves. Because he says there's no point anymore. You reach a conclusion, there's no point of arguing, so stop. And this arguing amongst each other, you know, sometimes we need someone who's wise. In every argument, you know, we have this, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Don't argue with a stupid man, because he will bring you to his level, and he's an expert in his level. So he will beat you. Don't ever argue with such people. Don't waste your time. But the thing here, the intention, what are you arguing for? Are you arguing truly for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to guide people, or just to say that I'm right? And feel that desire of being right. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The intention even with ibadah is different. Imam al-Abidin alayhi salam and Amir al-Mu'mineen before him, they have a hadith in that regard. That some people, إِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ طَمَعًا فِي جَنَّتِهِ فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ التُّجَّارِ. I'm paraphrasing. وَقَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ خَوْفًا مِنْ نَارِهِ فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْعَبِيدِ. وَقَوْمٌ عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ لأنهم رأوا الله ماذا حري أن يعبد. That some people pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Al-Abidin says in one hadith that I hate to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a worship that I want His heaven for. It's not bad. Is it bad? We all want heaven. But Imam Al-Abidin on a different level. On a different level. Says, I don't want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of His heaven and His rewards. Because that's a worship of people who are desiring all the time and covet. And I don't want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of fear of His punishment, because that's the praise of slaves. I want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of what He bestowed upon me. And the gift that He gave me without me asking Him. That's a worship of free man. It says, whoever purify his intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's a hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him tawfiq. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him the opportunity, pave the way for him. Says some people, they truly have pure intention. Some people would not do salam to you except they have an alternative motive. So let me say salam to him now because I want to ask him for something in the future. If you have that kind of intention, from now, purify it. And you will see the change in your life. Because that's the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if you purify what's in your heart, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will pave the way for you. If you truly desire Hajj, not to go there so when you come back people call you Hajji. If you truly want to go to ziyarah, not to come back or to post on the social media. It's kind of a disease now, truly. I once want to go to a ziyarah and not see people who taking selfies with a haram. Maybe once in your lifetime, back in the day, they used to do it. Even if anyone of you have been to Mashhad, you've seen this. Before, they didn't have that kind of technology, of course. So what they did, they put a picture, even in Mashhad, picture of the haram in your background. And you standing there and pose like this, right? For you to take your picture and you hang it in your bedroom, in your living room. Now they go inside and they start taking selfies. Inshallah, in time of Muhammad Zaman, Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, people have some kind of decency and not to come to Imam and start taking selfies with the Imam. Let's just once go there for just the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Going there just for ibadah. Not to pose, not to tell people, oh, we did dua for you. You weren't here. It was a really spiritual journey. It was beautiful. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Yes, if you want to encourage people, that's a different story. Like sadaqah. Sadaqah, you give what? In private and in public. Both you receive rewards from. But of course, in the public one, it's kind of difficult as well. Because you're going to be struggling with yourself, within you, that am I giving it truly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But it's as well to teach people to give. Ameen Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. The Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi majma'in did this in private, in secret, and in public. That's why Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, after his martyrdom, they saw a different kind of marks on his back that was different than the marks that those chains left on the back of Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Sallallahu Muhammad wa Muhammad. When Imam al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi gave the opportunity, all the opportunity to his companion to leave him. It says, هذا الليل فاتخذوه جملا. This is the night. Take it like a camel and ride, because those people want me. They don't want you. They don't want the ashab. They even didn't want some of the Ahlul Bayt. They wanted Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi. They came with what? With a letter from Ibn Ziyad to give a safe passage to Abil Fadl Abbas salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi and his brothers. They didn't want them. So Imam Hussein tested them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test every one of us in regard of our attention. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in our hearts. He's closer to us than our jugular vein. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So if you don't purify your intention, you're not going to reach that level of what you're hoping for with the companions of Sayyid al-Shuhada salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. With the opportunity presented itself for some of the Mujahideen in Karbala in 1991 in Sha'ban, and the uprising of the Shia, when they were captured by Saddam's son-in-law. He told them and gave them that option. He says, I'm Hussein. His name was Hussein Kamil. He says, I'm Hussein and this is Hussein, pointing at Abu Abdullah salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. Who's with me, go stand there. And who's with this Hussein? Some people, out of fear of their lives, it's not haram, of course, right? One person did it in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. One person was martyred, and the person who came back safe, he was crying and telling to Rasulullah that, you know, I cursed you in order to be free. It says that person who was martyred, who didn't curse, he quickly went to heaven. And what what saved you is your knowledge. Anyways, but some people know. For them, they want to quickly go. They want to take the VIP seats. So then they said, no, we're standing with Abu Abdullah. And what happened? They were martyred, they were killed. And people saw them in their dreams. They are among the companion of Sayyid al-Shuhada salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Jabir was on the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada salamullahi alayhi, lamenting Abu Abdullah and his family and his companions. His servant said, "O Jabir, I see shadows are coming from the side of the Sham." He said, "Go investigate and let us hide somewhere and find something to hide. If there are the people of Ibn Ziyad, we need to hide and flee. And if they are the caravan of Imam Zain al-Abidin, "O servant, I will free you." The servant rushed back, shouting, "Jabir, Jabir, قم واستقبل حرم رسول الله، هذا سيدي زين العابدين والفاطميات المخدرات، أتينا مع الرؤوس. "O Jabir, get up and greet your master Zain al-Abidin. He came with the household of Rasulullah. They brought with them the severed head of Shuhada." Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, after he was given the option of one way that takes him to Medina and one way takes him to Karbala, Imam Zain al-Abidin consulted Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, and Sayyida Zainab said, "Take us to my brother. Take us to my brother Aba Abdullah." They went there. Imam Zain al-Abidin greeted Jabir. Jabir greeted Imam Zain al-Abidin. The wound was opened again. Fatimiyat, they came surrounding Sayyida Zainab, Sayyida Sukaina. They came on the grave of Aba Abdullah, reuniting the head of Sayyid al-Shuhada with his body, crying for Aba Abdullah. But Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, she didn't finish all her tears on the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada, because she needed to save some for a body that was left alone on the banks of Euphrates. They went and Aba Abdullah and said, "وَوَيْعَتَنَا بَعْدَكَ يَا أَبَا الْفَضْلِ." They went there and lamented and cried for Sayyidi wa Mawlai Aba al-Fadl al-Abbas Qamar al-Ashira. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. جابر بن عبد الله انصاری داشت گریه می کرد، زیارت می کرد حضرت ابا عبدالله سلام الله علیه. وقتی که بردش گفت که جابر، من یک سایه هایی میبینم از طرف شام دارن میآیند. جابر گفت که بدو ببین، اگر اینا از لشگریان و از اعوان عمر بن سعد و عبیدالله بن زیاد هستن، ما رو خبر ده که بریم یک جای خودمون را قایم بکنیم یا فرار بکنیم. و اگر دیدی که سرورم و مولایم زین العابدین است، تو آزادی. یهو دیدن که این برده داره به طور عجیبی میدوه به سمت جابر، داد میزنه جابر جابر، پاشو 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 برو به استقبال امامت و سرورت زین العابدین. امام آمده با هاشمیات، با زینب، آمدن اونجا که عزاداری بکنن بر قبر سید الشهدا. اومدن همین که رسیدن پیش جابر، میگه لسان حاله، زبان حاله. وقتی که یکی از سفر میاد، وقتی یکی بعد از این همه مشکلات به یک عزیزی میرسه، به یکی که میشناستش میرسه، دوباره زخمهاش دوباره باز میشه، دوباره سفره دلش را شروع میکنه باز کردن. جابر همین جا بود که علی اکبر را تکه تکه کردند. جابر همین جا بود که بر هامت قاسم شمشیر فرو آوردند. جابر همین جا بود که علی اصغر شیر خار را تیر زدند. جابر همین جا بود که شیر بر سینه پدرم نشست. آقا قصه ما به سر رسید. زرت کو که سامان بگیرم. سرت کو که به دامان بگیرم. سراغ سرت را من از آسمان و سراغ تنت را از بیابان بگیرم. حسین جان، حسین جان، حسین جان، حسین جان. تو پنهان شدی زیر چی پنهان شدی یا ابو عبدالله؟ تو پنهان شدی زیر انبوه نیزه. من از حنجرت بوسه پنهان بگیرم. اگر خون حلقومت آب حیات است، من از بوسه برحنجرت جان بگیرم. رسیده کجا کار زینب که باید سرت را من از این و آن بگیرم. انا لله و انا الیه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. خدایا بارالله به این قلب‌های شکسته برای سید الشهدا و اشک‌های ریخته بر سید الشهدا قسمت می‌دهیم که عشق حضرت مولای من، مولای بی سر و بی کفن من را از ما مگیر. خدایا بارالها قسمت می دهیم به غم حضرت زینب علیه السلام، به غربت حضرت زینب علیه السلام، به مصیبت حضرت زینب علیه السلام. فرج آقای من صاحب العصر و الزمان را تعجیل بفرما. خدایا بارالها اونهایی که از این جمع رفتن عصرای خاک، اونایی که در این مجالس شرکت می‌کردن، اشک می‌ریختن، به حق سید الشهدا صلوات الله و سلام علیه ببخش و بیامرز. خدایا حاجتای مشروعی ما، حاجتای مؤمنین مؤمنان در این مجلس روا بفرما. For our recently departed sister Hadi rahmatullahi alayha, and all your departed one and your marhumin and the marhumin of mu'minin and mu'minat, رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Ya Hussein, 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 जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे, 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 रोज़ाए शब्बीर पर दूंगा दुआ ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे, है जहाँ गंजे शहीदा, है जहाँ नहरे फुरात, है जहाँ गंजे शहीदा, है जहाँ नहरे फुरात, जिस जगह सैयद मेरा प्यासा रहा ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले, जिस जगह जागी थी किस्मत हुर की वो देखूंगा मैं, जिस जगह जागी थी किस्मत हुर की वो देखूंगा मैं, आसियों पर कैसे होती है अता ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे, जिस जगह अब्बास के बाजू कलम हो कर गिरे, जिस जगह अब्बास के बाजू कलम हो कर गिरे, उस जगह मैं भी करूँ मातम ज़रा ले चल मुझे, जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे। करबला के जल गए शामे गरीबा मैं जहाँ खैमे तमाम जल गए शामे गरीबा मैं जहाँ खैमे तमाम जिस जगह नन्ना सा एक झूला जला ले चल मुझे जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे जाने वाले करबला के करबला दिल उलझ कर आ गया भर छी में अकबर का जहां दिल उलझ कर आ गया भर छी में अकबर का जहां दिल वहाँ मैं भी करूं अपना फिदा ले चल मुझे जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे जाने वाले करबला के करबला ले चल मुझे
Hussein, Ya Hussein.
مشينا نصبغ الدروب حملنا حب والذنوب بدلنا قلب بالقلوب إلى كربلاء إلى كربلاء مشينا نصبغ الدروب حملنا حب والذنوب بدلنا قلب بالقلوب إلى كربلاء إلى كربلاء وصلنا في الهوى الجريح فلاحت قبة الضريح وصلنا في الهوى الجريح فلاحت قبة الضريح هوينا نندي والذبيح هنا كربلاء هنا كربلاء يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين 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 حسينا حلمنا الأثير حسينا خيرنا الوفير حسينا صوتنا الأخير هنا كربلاء هنا كربلاء عبرنا عتبة الحرم دخلنا جنة الكرم فلا بك كلمة الخدم هنا كربلاء هنا كربلاء يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين أزور أن أبي الشهيد من أهدى ابنه الوحيد يدير طرفه الشديد إلى كربلاء إلى كربلاء ويدعو ليتني أزول لأوفي آخر النذور وصية لابن الغيوب سر عني الكربلاء سر عني كربلاء يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يقال ما بها رضا إمام بل هي غبا يجبه إنه هو كربلاء وقل ما قيمة السنين بدون شوق والحنين فإن عمر 40 زيارة الكربلاء وقل ما قيمة السنين بدون شوق والحنين فإن عمر 40 زيارة الكربلاء يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين يا كربلاء روحي فداء للحسين صلوا
ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई 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 सजाद को ज़ई सदाएं ये कर गई ज़हरा को बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई लाशों को रस्सियों में जगड़ कर लिए फिरो लाशों को रस्सियों में जगड़ कर लिए फिरो सैदानियाँ तो घर से निकलते ही मर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई जाती थी जो कभी कभी ज़हरा की खबर पर जाती थी जो कभी कभी ज़हरा की खबर पर जाने खुदा हुजूम से कैसे गुजर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई जुल्म सितम की तेज हवाएं थी जब चली जुल्म सितम की तेज हवाएं थी जब चली सब गुलशन बतूल की कलियां बिखर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई गोदों से रहे शाम में गिर गिर के मर गई गोदों से रहे शाम में गिर गिर के मर गई बच्चों के लाश देख के माए भी मर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई। बाजार लेके जाओ ना बेपर्दा ज़ालिमों, बाजार लेके जाओ ना बेपर्दा ज़ालिमों। मर जाएगी हुसैन की बहनें अगर गई, ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई, ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई। या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन।
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام على رسول الله حبيب الله خيرته من خلقه خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين أبو القاسم محمد المصطفى ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب رحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على فاطمة الزهراء البتول سيدة نساء العالمين رحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على صبي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله الآخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبو فضل العباس وأختي زينب أم كلثوم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على أمة المسلمين وحجج الله على خلقه علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب الزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل مخرجك وجعلنا من أنصارك وعوانك والمستشهدين بين يديك في جملة أوليائك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن وليك حجة الحسن صلواتك عليهم وعلى أربعين في هذه الساعة وفي كل